Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we are going to talk about most common questions for the topic My Country in the B1 Speaking and Listening exam. I am also going to cover all the questions that come under the subtopics for this topic. I am going to give you all the answers for the questions, so make sure to stick around till the end. Now let's get into the video. First of all, let's talk about the subtopics for the topic My Country. If you don't already know, in the B1 Speaking and Listening exam, you have to choose a topic. And then when you choose a topic, you have to get a topics form, as you can see in the picture here. You can get it from the Trinity College London official website. When you get the topic form, you have to print it and then fill out the topic form. The title of the topic or the main heading will come in the center. As you can see, here it is, My Country. Then the 5 subtopics for the topic will come in the other boxes around the main topic. As you can see, the title of the topic is My Country, and the subtopics include foods in my country, weather in my country, languages in my country, sports in my country, and lastly, interesting places in my country. So let's start talking about the questions. First of all, we are going to talk about foods in my country. So the first question is, what kind of food is the most popular in your country? So you have to tell what foods are most popular in your country. It could be anything. It depends upon your country, as the most popular food for any country is different. For example, for Indians, it could be samosas, biryani or whatever. But for you, it might be different. So you just have to tell him the most popular food in my country is whatever the food might be. What type of food do most people like? Meaning, what type of food is most liked by a lot of people? Once again, it depends upon your country and what kind of food the people in your country like the most. You just have to mention the name of the food and you have to say most people like, then just say the name of the food. For example, most people like burger or most people like tacos or whatever. What is your favorite food? Meaning, what is your favorite thing to eat? You can mention anything that you like to eat. It doesn't have to be your absolute favorite. As the B1 test is an English language test, it's not a general knowledge test. The examiner is just going to check your English language and how you speak. So you can say anything, you can mention any food, and it's fine as long as the English is correct. You can say my favorite food is whatever the food that you like. For example, my favorite food is burger, pizza, tacos. What foods do kids like the most? Meaning, what food do kids in your country like the most? You can mention sweets, as kids usually like sweets the most. You can say kids in our country like sweets the most. Are there special foods for special occasions? Meaning, are there specific foods for specific occasions, as there are in some countries? If there are special foods for special occasions in your country, you can mention yes, there are certain special foods for certain special occasions. If there are not any special foods, you can simply say no, there are no special foods for special occasions. What type of food is most common in weddings or ceremonies? In most countries, weddings and ceremonies have very specific type of food, and it's like a tradition. So you just have to mention the specific foods that are very common in weddings. For example, for Indians or Pakistani people, it would be sweets, rice, and chicken. These are 3 most common foods in weddings. Can you tell me the names of some popular foods of your country? You just have to mention some names of the foods in your country that are very popular. It could be anything. As I mentioned earlier, it totally depends on your country, as each country has different foods. So you can say, for example, the most popular foods include biryani, pakoda, samosa, whatever. You just have to mention the name and make sure that your English is correct. Now let's move on to the weather in my country subtopic. This subtopic also has the following questions. First of all, how is the weather in your country? This means usually or generally speaking, what type of weather is common in your country? Is it raining all the time, or is it sunny, or anything else? You can mention it according to your country. For example, in countries like Canada, it rains a lot. But in other countries, for example, Australia, it's a very hot weather all the time. So you can mention it. You can say the weather in my country is usually very hot, or it usually rains a lot in my country, or it usually snows a lot in my country, whatever the case might be for you. How is your country's weather different from UK's weather? This is a very important question, as it is very common in this topic. You just have to mention What are the differences between UK's weather and your country's weather? If there are none, you can simply mention it's very similar. The UK's weather and my country's weather is very similar. Or if it's not similar and there are certain differences, you can simply say in my country it usually rains a lot or it usually snows a lot, while in UK it doesn't snow or rain as much. Do you think it is better than UK's weather? Meaning, do you think your country's weather is better than the UK's weather? If you like your country's weather more, you can simply say yes, I think my country's weather is better than UK's weather as it does not rain or snow a lot, or maybe it's sunny all the time and we can go outside. Or you can give any other reason. Or if you think that UK's weather is better, you can simply say I think UK's weather is better than the weather in my country for any reason. For example, it rains a lot in my country or it snows a lot in my country and we can't go outside. What do you like the most about your country's weather? Meaning, what's your favorite thing about your country's weather? Again, it's very dependent upon your country and your conditions. You can simply say it usually snows a lot, for example, in my country, and I love snow, or I love playing with snow. Or you can say that it's sunny all the time in my country and we can go out and I love to go out. How does weather affect lives of people? Meaning, in your country, how does the weather condition affect people's lives? You can say on a rainy day, it's usually bad for the laborers. It affects their life very badly. But on a sunny day, everybody is happy. Everybody can go outside. They can work and earn their living. Or you can give any other reason. It doesn't have to be this exact same reason. How hot is it in summers in your country? Meaning, in summers, how hot does it usually get? You can say it gets really hot if it actually does, or even if it doesn't. You can simply say it gets really hot in my country in summers. Or if it is a Western country, it's usually very cold in there. So you can simply mention it's not very hot in my country. How cold is it in winters in your country? Meaning, how cold is the temperature in winter in your country? Again, if it is a Western country, it's usually cold there. So you can say it's really cold in winters in my country. Or if it is an Asian country, it's usually not that cold. So you can say it is very cold but not too much. Or it is very cold but not like a lot in my country. Or you can compare it to the UK's weather. You can say that it is very cold in my country but not as much as in the UK. Which one is your favorite? Meaning, which weather or season is your favorite? Do you like winters or summers or spring or any other weather? You can mention any weather. You can say I like winter and give a reason. For example, I like to play with snow. You can say I like summers because I like beaches. Or you can say I like spring as I love nature. Whatever the case might be for you, it's a very simple question. Just make sure, as I said before, that your English is correct. Next up is languages in my country. So the first question is, what is the national or official language of your country? In a lot of Western countries, the official language is usually English or some other language. For example, in France, it would be French. In US and UK, it would be usually English. And in other countries, it's very specific. For example, in India, it's Hindi. So you just have to mention the name of the language that is the national language of your country. You can say the national or official language of my country is, for example, English, Hindi, French, whatever the case might be for you. What languages are spoken in your country? Meaning, what are the total languages that are spoken in your country? As in a single country, there are a lot of different people and they speak a lot of different languages. So you can mention a few of the languages that are spoken in your country if you know them. For example, in India or in Pakistan, there are various languages. There is Marathi, Sindhi, Punjabi, Urdu, Hindi, and many more. So if you're from these countries, you can simply mention some of these. You can say some of the languages that are spoken in my country include Sindhi, Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, etc. What language do most people speak? Meaning, what is the common language that most people speak in your country? It's usually the national or the official language of the country that is most common among people. But in certain areas that might not be the case. So you can simply mention the language that is most common in your area or that most people speak. For example, you can say if you're from India, you can say the most common language or the language that most people speak is Hindi. What language do you speak? Meaning, what is your native language? It could be anything. It could be even English or Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, whatever. You can simply say I speak Hindi, English, whatever it is that you speak. What is your favorite language? Meaning, which language in your country is your favorite? You can mention any language. It could be your native language. It could be English. It could be any other language. You just have to mention my favorite language is, and then the name of the language. Why do you like it? Meaning any reasons for why you like this language over any other language. You can give any reason. For example, it's very easy, it's very simple, or it's your country's national language. Any reason that you can give for why you like the language. How many languages can you speak? This is a very easy question. You can simply say I speak one language, I speak two languages, and mention their names. For example, if you speak multiple languages, you can say I speak English, French, and Spanish, for example. Or you can mention any other languages that you speak. Just say I speak and then just mention the names of the languages. Which one of them is the hardest? Meaning which one of those languages do you think is the hardest? For example, if you mentioned I speak English, French, and Spanish, you can say French I think is the hardest. Which one of them is the easiest? Again, if you mention those three languages, you can say, for example, English is the easiest. Now let's talk about sports in my country. So the first question is, do people in your country like to play sports? Meaning, do people in your country like sports in general? It depends on your country and the people of your country, but you can generally say yes, they love sports and they like to play it as well. What is the most popular sport in your country? Meaning, what sport is most popular in your country? In countries like Pakistan and India, it's usually cricket or football, but in your country it might be different. You just have to mention the name of the sport. Does everyone like this sport? Generally, not everybody likes the sport, the one that is most popular. So you can say no, not everyone likes this sport. Most people do, but not everyone. Some people also like to play some other sport. For example, hockey, football, volleyball, basketball. You can mention some other sports. You can say some people like these sports and most people like the sport that is most popular. Do kids like to play this sport? Meaning the one that is the most popular. Do kids like to play that sport? You can say yes. For example, if you mention that the most popular sport in your country is cricket, you can say yes, kids love to play cricket. Do adults like to play this sport? Meaning, do adults like to play the most popular sport of your country? In this case, cricket. You can say yes, the adults also love to play cricket. What other sports are popular in your country? Meaning, other than the most popular one, in this case cricket, what are the other sports that are popular in your country? It could be any other sport, for example, football, hockey. You can mention some of them. You can say the other sports that are very popular in my country include football, hockey, and basketball. What is your favorite sport? Meaning, which sport do you like the most? Again, it's totally upon you. Which one do you like the most? You can say I like football the most. You can say I like cricket the most. You can mention any sport. Do you play this sport regularly? Meaning the one that you like the most. Your favorite sport. Do you play it regularly? If you do play it regularly, as some people do, you can say yes, I play it every single evening or morning or whatever. And if you do not play this sport regularly, you can say I usually play it every once in a while but not regularly. Now, for the final one, let's talk about interesting places in my country. What are some of the most interesting places in your country? Meaning, what are the most interesting places to visit in your country? You can mention some of the most famous places, some of the most famous tourist attractions of your country. For example, in America, it could be the Statue of Liberty. In Paris, it could be Eiffel Tower. In UK, it could be the London Bridge or whatever. You just have to mention some of the places or even one of the places that are famous in your country. You can say in my country, if it is UK, or if you are an American, you can say in my country, some of the most interesting places include the Statue of Liberty and also some other ones that you know. Which one is the most popular? Meaning, out of these that you mentioned, which one is the most popular one? You can mention the one that is, according to you, the most popular in your country. Is it a famous tourist attraction? Usually, the most popular places that are very interesting are also a really, really great famous tourist attraction. So you can just mention the same one that you mentioned in the last question. You can say that place is the famous tourist attraction. Do people of your country like to visit these places? Meaning the interesting places that you mentioned before, do people of your country like to visit them? You can say yes, the people in my country love to visit these places, and every year lots of people go to visit these places. Have you ever visited these places? If you have ever visited any of these places, you can mention. You can say I've visited, for example, a few of them, or you can mention their names. For example, you can say I visited the Eiffel Tower, or I visited the London Bridge. What is your favorite landmark? Meaning, which one of these places or landmarks is your favorite that you visited? You can say that the Eiffel Tower or the London Bridge or the Statue of Liberty, whatever it is in your case, you can say that one is my favorite. Would you like to visit it again? Meaning in the future, if you get the chance, would you like to visit that favorite landmark of yours again? You can say yes, I would love to go there once again. Now that wraps up all the common questions for the topic my country. As you can see, I have given you all the questions for the subtopics as well. But I want to mention something here, that these questions are not necessarily all the questions. These are just the common ones, the ones that are most likely to be asked. You can definitely be asked some other questions that we haven't mentioned here, so just be prepared for that. But these are like the most common ones, and these have a very high chance to be in the test. But I have mentioned all the answers as well, and you shouldn't have any problem at this point. If you still have a problem or want to know the answer to any other question, you can simply leave a comment down below and I'll make sure to answer you as soon as possible. Also, if you liked this video and found it helpful, make sure to give it a like, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you'll never miss out a new video. Lastly, if you want to support us, you can do so by joining our channel membership. The join button is right next to the subscribe button. It's a great way to support us. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.